The following is an ESG 360 video.
I'm spending some time recently talking with my colleagues about particular coverage areas. I've already talked to Christophe Bertrand, who covers data protection for us. But something that's front and center right now is GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation.
That's right.
One of the first things I wanted to ask you is, how does this jive, if I can use that term, with compliance? Because, you have a right to be forgotten, but, that doesn't seem to link.
Well, that's a very good question. So first of all of these emails you've been receiving, it's just the top of the iceberg. It's the part that says, do you agree, again, to our new rules and our new requirements to be doing business with you, and how we're going to use your data, etc. So it's like the consent management piece of it. I would say the GDPR in of itself is a new requirement from a compliance perspective, but it could also be in conflict with other type of compliance regulations. So on the one hand, you have a rule that says you have the right to be forgotten as an individual, or your personal data can be forgotten, more specifically. Yet you may have other rules that say, well, we have to keep information about you for years and years.
So, does anyone know the answer to this?
Of course not.
Okay. It's a regulation. Good.
So we'll find out more, I think, in the next few years as case law evolves and as we see organizations really deal with what it means to be compliant with GDPR, but also compliant with other regulations and how that whole plays out. And that's why there is a role, the data protection officer, that's going to be very critical in really ensuring that all of the requirements are met.
Do companies, organizations know what they've got?
I would say very few probably do. My suspicion is that most of them do not. And it's not that they don't know what they have. They probably know what they have. They don't know how much of it they have and where it really is. So the reason why that's an issue is we're talking about what we call PII, or personally identifiable information. That's personal data, for lack of a better term. And what it does is really is anything that defines you as an individual, and it could be an IP address, for example, because that could be tied back to you. Right. So you can see it's far-reaching. So where is that data about you that potentially you may want to get corrected or amended, which is one of your rights, or in some circumstances, deleted? That's the right to be forgotten. But if you can find the data, what are you going to do? How do you delete something that you don't really know where it is?
Is this something sitting in America as we are, that's over there and we don't need to worry about in America? I suspect the answer is no, but...
The answer is no, unless you're a business that doesn't have any dealings with European Union residents. Not just citizens, residents. In other words, people who are covered by the laws of the European Union where they live. And so a lot of businesses are global. You don't have to be a very, very big business to have a branch in London or Paris or whatever the case may be, and you may have some data that by definition will fall under the GDPR rule. And for this reason, you see this GDPR adoption or the efforts to deal with it becoming very global.
Right.
The other dimension to it is it's really about data privacy, which is a big topic. Some will say it's a political topic even, and I would not disagree with that. However, what it does is that it also forces not only the classification of data, as we were just talking about, to figure out what personal data there is that you need to protect and manage from a GDPR standpoint, but also the adoption of rules that were not created here, that have become global. So that's a very interesting topic. It also changes how you're going to handle backup and recovery, because what do you do with years of backup of data that may have to be forgotten?
Right. From the perspective of the industry that we function in, is it good for business, as in good for the vendors of data protection, good for the consumers of data protection tools, irrespective of how it eventually impacts consumers?
Well, actually, if you think about it, it is a good thing, right? Because it's going to force, number one, the classification of data or understanding what you have as a business, and that's not a bad thing, because now you can start adding value to that, and as a matter of fact, you may be headed towards data management at that point.
Right.
Which gives you the ability to better, again, create value with data and be compliant, avoid the fines. Also, as a consumer, I may like the fact that you're really, really good with data privacy.
True.
Right? I may have more faith in you as an organization that deals with my data and therefore may give you more business. So that's a big deal from that standpoint. The other thing is, yes, for data vendors, or data protection vendors, I should say, there's an opportunity. New features, better features, new partnerships, and I think those are going to be needed.
All right. Well, thank you for the insight.
Thank you, Mark.
I feel a little smarter. Thank you for watching.